If you Google, how much money do I need to buy a house? You will probably see a calculator asking for your down payment. And for years, buyers have been told that 20% down is the magic number. But here's the truth. Your down payment is only one part of the money you actually need. Because when you buy a home, there are things like closing costs, prepaids, inspections, earnest money, moving expenses, and that very real, please don't let my bank account hit zero fund. So today, I am going to break down what you really need to have saved before buying a home here in Utah. Hi, my name is Christine, and I am the owner of Wings and Roots of Utah, affiliated with Keller Williams Utah Realtors. In today's video, I am going to walk you through 4 things: your down payment options, the closing costs buyers often forget about, the upfront cash you may need before closing, and the safety net I believe every buyer should have after closing. And my hope is that by the end of this video, you will have a much clearer idea of what that cash to close actually means and how to plan for it without feeling blindsided. If you are buying your first home, you are relocating here to Utah, or you are just trying to figure out whether home ownership is actually within reach, this video is for you. And as always, please remember, loan programs, the rates, and the exact cost can vary. So you will want to talk with a trusted lender for numbers that are specific to your situation. But this will give you a strong starting point. Let's start with the number that everyone talks about, the down payment. So one of the biggest myths in real estate is that you need 20% down to buy a home. Is 20% down helpful? Absolutely, because it can actually lower your monthly payment. It can help you avoid private mortgage insurance, your PMI, and it can make your offer stronger in some situations. But is it required? No, it's not. Many buyers purchase with much less than the 20% down. Depending on the loan program, you may see options like 3% down or 3.5% down with FHA, 5% down or even 0% down if you qualify for a VA loan or a USDA loan. So when buyers say, I'm never going to be able to buy because I don't have 20% saved, I always want to pause right there, because 20% is not the only path. The real question is not, do I have 20%? The better question is, what loan options do I qualify for? What monthly payment am I comfortable with? And how much cash do I need to bring to the table? Because the down payment is only one piece of the puzzle. So let's talk about the closing costs and the prepaids. This is where a lot of buyers get surprised. Your down payment is not the same thing as your total cash to close. In addition to your down payment, you'll also need to plan for closing costs. Here is a general rule of thumb to budget somewhere between 2% and 5% of the purchase price for closing costs and your prepays. So on a home of $500,000, that could mean an additional $10,000 to $25,000 depending on your loan, your lender, your taxes, your insurance, and the specifics of the transaction. These costs can include things like lender fees, title fees, appraisal fees, homeowners insurance, property taxes, escrow setup, and other transaction costs. And then there are prepaids. Prepaids are things you may have to pay upfront at closing, like homeowners insurance or property taxes being placed into an escrow account. This is where buyers sometimes feel confused because they think, wait, I already saved for my down payment. Why do I need more? And that is exactly why I want buyers to understand this before they start shopping. Because it's not just about qualifying for that loan. It is about being financially prepared for the full purchase. Now let's talk about money you may need before you even get to that closing table. First is your earnest money. Earnest money is the deposit you put down after your offer is accepted. It shows the seller that you are very serious about buying their home. Here in Utah, the amount can vary, but around 1% of the purchase price is a common reference point. That money is typically held by the title company and can usually be applied to your purchase at the closing. But you need to have it available shortly after your offer is accepted. The second upfront cost are inspections. And I will say this very clearly. I do not want buyers skipping inspections just to save a little money up front, because it can cost you a lot in the end. A general home inspection, radon test, sewer scope, and other inspections, depending on the property, can cost several $100s. A reasonable planning range may be around $500 to $800 or more, just kind of depending on what inspections you choose. And yes, that money is usually paid out of pocket before closing. But inspections can help you avoid much bigger surprises later. All right, this next part is really important, and I do not want buyers to use every single dollar they have just to get into the house. Because home ownership comes with real life. Things break. Moving costs more than expected. You may need blinds or tools, furniture, a lawnmower, utility deposits, or a repair you did not see coming. And houses have a way of waiting until right after you move in to introduce themselves. So ideally, I like buyers to have a safety net after closing. And that could mean 3 to 6 months of your new mortgage payment saved, or at least the very least, a solid emergency fund that keeps you from feeling financially stretched the second you get those keys. Because the goal is not just to buy the house. The goal is to live in the house comfortably. There is a very big difference. Okay, so let's recap what I've covered today. First, you do not always need 20% down. Depending on your loan program, you may be able to buy with much less. Second, your down payment is not the total cash to close. You also need to plan for your closing costs and your prepaids. The third, you may need upfront cash for earnest money and inspections before you even get to closing. And the fourth, do not forget your post-closing safety net. You want to own the home without feeling like one unexpected repair is going to knock you over financially. If you are trying to figure out what your real numbers might look like for buying a home here in Utah, I would be happy to help you think through this process. My contact information is in the description below, and you can always reach out if you want to talk through your next steps. And if you found this video has helped you, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who is trying to figure out how much money they actually need to buy a home, especially here in Utah. Again, I am Christine with Wings and Roots of Utah, affiliated with Keller Williams Utah Realtors. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye.